Good evening and welcome to the Drive at 5 on IntellectualRadio.com/iHeartRadio station. I'm your host, Roman. We have a great show planned for you today, but first, the forecast from our IntellectualRadio.com weather center today. Cooler with periods of rain, high 59 degrees. Tonight, showers early, then rain. Low 47 degrees. Tomorrow, windy and cooler with occasional rain. High 50 degrees. Tomorrow night, an evening shower in the area. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, breezy, and chilly. Low 38 degrees. Wednesday, a brief morning shower, then turning partly cloudy throughout the rest of the day. High 52 degrees. On Thursday, partly sunny and warmer. High 64 degrees. And on Friday, cloudy and cooler, high 47 degrees. The Drive at 5 is part of the new Monday night lineup with a host of new shows at 4 p.m. called Tapping the Power Within Your Chocolate Soul with Acreage Assets and Acquisition Policy Matters with your girl, Rhea Ray Harris at 6 p.m. New Black Leadership at 7 p.m. Black Community Unity at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., Chronicles of Rom, and the Mic Up at 10 p.m. Also, the Drive at 5 is also part of the fabulous 5 at 5, only on IntellectualRadio.com. Tonight, we are celebrating Cancer Awareness Month with cancer survivors. My guest is, to my left, is Tracy Kincaid, who's a breast cancer survivor. And we have an update with our very own, she's a big celebrity. She doesn't want to talk, but she's a big celebrity. And her mother, Tangi Watson. Welcome back to the Drive.
Thanks for having us back.
Oh, there's a little sound right there. Yeah. So let me start with you, Tracy. Please give IntellectualRadio.com/iHeartRadio station. When was the first time you discovered you had cancer, and what was your reaction?
Well, I must say that I was actually got a diagnosis July of 2009, but I had actually discovered the lump prior to that, quite some time before I ever even went and had anything done about it. So I believe it probably was about 2007 when I discovered the lump myself. But when I actually got the diagnosis, it was 2009 in July.
So why you wait so long?
That I was hoping that you asked that question, Roman. Fear, lack of insurance, just not really wanting to deal with it at the time. You don't feel sick, not making it a priority.
That was it?
It is quite unfortunate, but it's the truth. Yes.
So what stage when you found out you had officially diagnosed with cancer?
Once I had gone through surgery and had some of my lymph nodes removed, and the doctor report came back that I was a stage 2.
And if you would have waited longer, it would have escalated.
It could have possibly metastasized and gone to other parts of my body. I was fortunate that I only had 2 of the lymph nodes that were dirty. So it made me a candidate for chemotherapy and radiation.
Now, describe the reaction of telling your family or loved one that you had cancer.
I kind of knew it all the time. I had this feeling like, you kind of like, I had this feeling and these thoughts that went through my mind, and it was like, okay, I think I know that the results are going to come back positive. And so I was pretty much prepared to let them know. I didn't have to do it by myself. So I told my husband and I told my children, and I kind of let them tell other family members because I didn't want to be overwhelmed with their reaction, because I was pretty much, already kind of knowing in the back of my mind and had already sort of accepted it. but I sort of leaned on my husband and my children to kind of help me get that information to my other family members. But as far as my immediate family, which is my husband and my children, it wasn't really hard to tell them.
Now, move on to baby J. Tangi, it was very difficult when you discovered. What was your reaction when you discovered that baby J was first diagnosed with a rare form of brain cancer? To update us, you was during our Christmas show, you explained to us that it was a very difficult moment in your life. So elaborate on that.
Guess my first thing, I was scared. I had never actually had to deal with a cancer diagnosis, so close. It's your kid. And when someone tells you, when you hear cancer, the first thing you think is, am I gonna make it? So yeah, you're scared. You don't know what you have to go through, what she was gonna have to go through as a kid. It's like, wow, kids don't deserve this.
I know, right?
Like, why my kid?
Now, describe your reaction when when the doctors explained to you it's a rare form of cancer and it's something that they didn't see before or diagnose before.
Yes, but fortunately the cancer that she was diagnosed with, they were actually doing a study on it. So she was able to, get in, to those studies. It was actually the youngest kid was 2, so she was kind of like the oldest kid. So it was like, wow, it was something. It was even something new for them. So, they told us everything. They broke down the treatments. They gave us the schedules. It's like, wow. You think, how we gonna go through all of this? You know, but we did. But.
Describe the reaction of telling your family about baby J and your loved ones about the cancer, because it's not just any old cancer, it was a rare form.
Exactly.
Describe that to your family and their reaction.
It wasn't easy. It wasn't hard at the same time, but it wasn't easy because I really didn't know how to explain it to them because it was such a rare cancer. I didn't know anything about it, myself. Um, I have a pretty strong, close family. So I knew it would be something that would, kind of like bring the family closer together. I didn't know, like, I was already scared. So, I didn't want the other negative, no negativity. So I was a little concerned with that. Would, they be positive? Would they be negative? Um, People asked a lot of questions
That you couldn't answer?
that I couldn't answer about the cancer. Um, I don't know what to say. I'm learning this cancer myself. Even her doctors, they were actually learning. So it was a learning experience for everyone.
You mentioned, Tracy, some women, including yourself, were afraid of telling loved ones, like your husband and family members, that you were diagnosed with cancer. What should a person do? What did they say, like about the stories about their boyfriends leaving them, their husband leaving them because they were diagnosed with cancer? What you say to them? Because the fear and the support mechanism that Tangi was explaining regarding baby J, it's not always there.
Exactly. I want to take it back a little bit, Roman, to the fact that a lot of women discover the lump, and sometimes it's quite some time before they even reveal to their doctors or to their loved ones that they have even discovered. A lot of them just walk in secret until they actually get a diagnosis. So in my situation, I didn't have a fear that I would lose my mate or that my family members wouldn't be supportive, but I have heard of stories of women that have felt that that their spouse or their significant others would feel differently about them. For some reason, there's some sort of embarrassment that's attached to a diagnosis, a cancer diagnosis. Why that is, I can't really answer that because that's varies from individual to individual. It's almost as if you feel like it couldn't happen to me, or why did this happen to me, or this shouldn't happen to me because I've done all the right things. I exercise, I eat properly, whatever. Some people just feel like they're inevitable and this just can't happen. And so we're losing a lot of women because of those ignorances, I would say. And that's just not true, because it could happen to anyone. And to be honest with you, my best friend passed away the year I was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was very difficult, but I remember having conversations with her before she had gotten to the place where she could no longer communicate. Telling me, she said, and I told her, I said, well, I think Mona, her name was Mona, I think I found the lump. And she said, she asked me, she said, Tracy, please go see about it because it's no joke. And so that was a lot that helped prompt me, hearing her voice in the back of my mind, hearing her say, it's no joke. I didn't know what that meant. I knew that she was going through chemotherapy. And I don't know if she went through radiation or not, but I knew she had been through chemotherapy. She had cancer, and then she had got to the point where they said that there was no more that they could do for her. And I didn't even understand what that was. It was like it was a block in my mind that I didn't understand what that meant, that they could do no more for her. And she passed away 2 days after my birthday, April the 10th, 2009. And so I went and had an appointment to have a mammogram on the 23rd of June and got my diagnosis 2 weeks later in July. And so, like I said, each woman's story is different. For me, I didn't have insurance. I didn't want to deal with it. I knew it was there. It wasn't making me sick. So I kind of felt like, well, whatever it is, I didn't even think that it would go away. It was just that I wasn't ready to deal. Personally, I wasn't ready to deal with it at that time. But because I didn't deal with it, and this is the point that I'm trying to get to, because I didn't deal with it when I first discovered it, I believe it caused me to have chemotherapy and radiation. And that's the point. Don't wait. The point is, you don't wait. You go as soon as you find out. I don't care if it was your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your family member, whomever it may be, you go when you first discover it, because that's a matter of life and death for a lot of women waiting. I was one of the fortunate ones, and I deem myself very fortunate that I'm here today to be able to tell this story. And I believe that's one of the reasons why God spared my life, so that I can let that embarrassment out, because it's very embarrassing to say that an intelligent woman with a husband and two adult children and a grandson, to publicly say that I knew I had a lump in my breast for over 2 years. That's embarrassing. I could be dead. I could have spared my family some of the hardship that they went through, because they had to see me suffer through chemotherapy and lose my hair and go through hot flashes and all of that stuff. So I say that, all of that to say this: don't wait.
The treatment of cancer, Tangi, like radiation that Baby J had to go through and other methods in order to cure cancer is as deadly as cancer itself.
Definitely.
Describe that to us, because when Baby J came in December, you were not you were hopeful, but there were times, and I'm going to say this on air, on
Mhm.
Facebook we had discussions,
Uh-huh.
and you were like, it's not looking good. Can you describe that to us?
Okay. Chemo itself it takes a toll on your body. I mean, to the point where she wasn't holding down food. She didn't want to eat. It was we had to force her to eat. Then she had the tubes. We were feeding her, through tubes. Um, Anything she would drink, she would just throw it up.
Mhm.
And I mean, she would throw up for hours. It was nothing like, how you get sick, you throw up that one
Mhm.
time and you good. No,
Constant.
it was constant. It was constant. So she's throwing up her nutrition, you know. She's not putting anything back in. When you take it out, you got to put it back in. But Baby J wasn't doing that. She was never a big girl. She lost so much weight. I mean, and that was one of the reasons why they wanted, to put the tubes in,
Mhm.
to put her on those feedings, so she could at least get some type of nutrition. We She's so she could be hard at times, if it's in her mind, I'm not gonna eat, she's not gonna eat. It's like you couldn't force it or whatever, or anything. But so that was hard. The side effects of chemo, it one of death is one of those things. I hate to say that word, but you don't want to speak that, into the universe. But the harsh truth is that
You can die.
you can die from it. You can. Um, what chemo does, it takes all of it's was designed to take all the cells that are damaged. They're supposed to kill those cells, but at the same time it's damaging your good cells as well.
That's right.
You know what I'm So you losing all of that, and eating, you're not taking your vitamins the way, you're not eating right, you're not taking your vitamins the way you should be. The body has nothing to fight back with, you know what I mean, to heal you, to heal. And a kid doesn't the kid don't know that. All she knows is she's sick.
That's
Mom,
right.
I'm sick.
How can you be strong on as your child, and you have to be strong for everybody, and you have
That's
to
true.
put on a brave face,
Hmm.
and there are times that you're like, is when we did the first show, you had to cancel several times, and there were times that you was like in tears. When was the, like, you was always hopeful? What kept that hope?
I was raised by God-fearing grandmother. We stayed
All
in
right now.
church. We were in church when I tell you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we were God fearing family. We was in church. So prayer,
That's right.
prayer, lots of prayer. You have to, and I mean, find you a good support system. It's okay
You don't have
Cry.
to be strong.
Everybody wants to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to be strong. But it's okay to break down sometimes. It's okay. I had to learn that because
It's okay to be
I'm a
weak.
strong young lady. Like, I'm strong. I've been through a lot. I dealt with a lot, and I deal with things my own way. But this was one of those things where I had to ask for help. So it was different for me. Find you some positive help though. You don't want nobody in your ear telling you, you should be doing this, you should be doing it. No, I don't need that. Just listen to me. When I come to you and I'm asking you for help, it's because I really need the help. You know, and I think that's what helped me through it. Another thing, Jamila is a strong kid. She is a lot stronger than me at times. So that helped a lot too. There be days when I just want to just say, just throw my hands up. But this Jamila's running through the hallways at the hospital, dancing with the nurses. How can you, how can you break down, and your kid running around smiling and got the 17th floor of the hospital, you know, turned up in her words. Got it turned up. So that helped as well. Then I had people that would come up to the hospital, give me a break at times. So that was the gist of, going through that and trying to stay strong. Yeah.
Describe your struggles. Your struggles, what you endured. You said you went experienced chemotherapy.
Yes. You know, m- me myself as well. I have a very strong spiritual background, and I told this story before. I call my aunt. We come from a Pentecostal background, Church of God in Christ, and um, I don't talk to my aunt a lot, but I didn't want anyone else to tell her. This is my mother's sister. I didn't want anyone else to tell her that I had been diagnosed with breast cancer. It wasn't that much worried either. But I told my aunt, and my aunt said something to me that just gave me let me know that through whatever it is I was gonna go through, whatever the struggle was gonna be, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, whatever, it was gonna be that I was gonna be okay in the end, and all I had to do was just endure it. So the part about worrying about whether or not I was gonna make it through it or live through it, I really wasn't worried about that, because my thing is, if God was so fit to take me, I'm going to be with Him anyway. So this earthly stuff just don't mean that much to me. That's just me, and that's just me. But anyway, back to your question. My aunt told me, she said, Tracy, she said, I am not worried about you. And from that moment on, and I told her early on because I didn't want anyone else to tell her, and I know that people was getting the news, and it was gonna get around, and it was a possibility that somebody was gonna, open their mouth and let her know, and it wasn't gonna come from me. So I made sure I got on that real early on in the battle. And I went into my secret closet. I'm just going to be honest with you. I went into my secret closet and I laid before the Lord and I leaned on my husband. My husband protected me, he nurtured me, he covered me. And I allowed God to do what he needed to do in my spirit, and that was to clean me up because I was a mess. And I needed to be cleansed both spiritually and physically. And I went through chemotherapy and I felt every cell in my body. Right now today, because of the damage that it has done to my body, I still feel the tingling going on even as we sit here and speak. And as that medication was going into my veins, I felt it. I felt it killing the bad cells. I felt it killing the good cells. I still feel like it's still working right now. But I laid there and I let God bring me to the place where I am right now, in knowing that my purpose, because it was a purpose for me going through that. And that my purpose was that I could be here today to tell this story, to help save somebody else's life.
Right.
That's what got me through. Literally, I would laugh. I don't know why I laughed through the whole thing. I would be in so much pain sometimes from the chemo that I would run and jump in the bed, and I would just lay there and laugh, and I would say, Lord, if this is what the old people, because your bones hurt and your joints hurt and your feet hurt, your fingers, everything hurt. And I say, Lord, if this is what the old people are feeling, I just say, I couldn't even pray for myself. I say, help them, Lord. I would just start to pray for other people while I was going through. And I never told my family this until like way after, I had started to recover and everything, but I would just pray for other people, and that helped me to get through it. And I ate. I would tell women, whatever you do, I don't care how you feel, I don't care what you feel like, you have to eat. Because if you listen to your spirit man, a lot of people, they want to run around here and act like they don't need God. I needed him, and I needed some guidance, and y'all can have the positive energy, whatever that is for you. But for me, I consulted God, Jesus Christ, my Savior, and he showed me what I needed to do. And he told me that no matter how I felt, I needed to eat. Because if I didn't eat, the cancer, not only was the cancer gonna eat me, but the chemotherapy was gonna eat me up. So I needed to feed it. So no matter what, I never missed a meal. Never missed a meal.
You talk about the transition. Describe the cosmetic transition to us, the battle scars of cancer, the look. And you talk about that support mechanism. You went through chemo, of course, you lost your hair.
Yes.
The other battle scars of cancer. Describe that transition and going out and telling the cosmetic part of it, because a lot of people have low self-esteem in that transition, because there's a lot of questions, or let's say a lot of people talk about you like nobody's business. And describe that, and why people should be mindful of what others are going through.
Well, I say this, we got to really get to what is really important, and that's your life. Your hair either is gonna grow back or it won't. That's why they make weaves and wigs. Your breast is not something that you have to have. So if you have to have them removed, you have an option to either have a reconstructive surgery or just wearing the prosthesis, right? Well, for me, when my husband had the problem with me losing my hair, because I never did. I always like to wear it short anyway. I only let it grow because that's what he liked. But at the same time, I did have a concern about my head and the shape of my head, because I have a big head. So before my hair came out, I would take my hand and rub it through my scalp, and all I would feel were lumps. It felt like, so I envisioned that when my hair came out, I was gonna have a big lumpy head. Well, I'm here to tell you today that, and I was concerned about that, but God was so good to me that when my hair started coming out, and I went on and cut it off because it was coming out by the handful. That 14 days that they say you're gonna lose your hair is pretty much to the key. Yes, you're gonna lose it in 14 days. So get ready.
Yeah.
I went on and cut it off, and when I looked in the mirror, he allowed me to be beautiful to myself. And I was beautiful to myself. And that's what I started to have, that cosmetic issue with my hair, because he allowed me to see myself as the way he saw me. And I may have been ugly to somebody else, but he allowed me to see me the way he saw me. As far as my breast work is concerned, I didn't have a mastectomy. I only had a lumpectomy. And so I had and I won't brag. This bragging rights. I had one of the top best surgeons in the country, Dr. Noah Hansen at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. And when I tell you she worked a miracle, I have a little scar there, look like a little hook. And that's about it. But I'm not one of those women that's gonna go and flash my breast because I had breast cancer. I just don't think that's necessary. But that's just me in my opinion. But my scarf is not it's just not, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to me because I'm still here to talk about it. So it's just a beautiful thing to me, Roman.
Okay.
Like,
I wasn't
okay.
going to ask to see it.
It's beautiful to me.
The cosmetic side of Baby J. How did you endure that? Other kids. She has to play with kids, and she was fine, even though she was going through what you were saying. What she was going through, it doesn't seem like she was a normal child. Describe the cosmetic issue, that transition.
When she first started losing her hair, it was really hard for me because, like she said, you touch it and you would just have a patch in your hand. And I went through a stage of, wow, how am I explaining to my daughter that she's gonna lose her hair? I mean, she had a nice length of hair, down here. Um, most women, I would say most women, their hair is their beauty. That's how they define it. Their beauty, with their hair. So it, I had to call my sister and my mom. Like, okay, her hair is coming out. I'm touching it, and it's just falling. I need somebody, to get over here because, at this point I'm crying. Like, I can't explain to my daughter that, she's losing her hair, you know. My mom, like, don't touch it. We're going to get some scarves, we're going to get some bows, and, we're going to get through this, we're going to work through, her losing her hair. I was more concerned of how she would be, with this, with her bald head. When I tell you she embraced her bald head, she embraced that bald head. We got, she got used to the bows, wearing the cute hats. We got into the makeup thing. She would put, on her lipstick. As far as the kids, they could be cruel, but at the same time, they don't know any better. So I had to explain to her, this is not something, kids see every day. This is not a normal thing to see about, see a bald head girl. Um, they gonna talk about you. They talk about you. They're gonna talk about you. I had to explain to her, it's kids with hair down their back that's not happy with themselves, but you're happy, with your bald head. Right. Embrace it. Let them know, I'm beautiful. I'm pretty. I'm a pretty girl. And then it was times, we had to sit down and talk to the teachers. The kid, they need to know a little bit about what's going on. Yeah, they need to know a little bit. A lot of times, we as adults, we talk about people. We don't know what people going through. That's right. You see someone with a bald head, you don't think cancer. You don't know. Sometimes we're a little ignorant to it. But once we got through that, it got a little easier. But it was still times we'd be at the park, playing. Kids would be staring. It's like, okay, it's okay, she just, she's sick, she just lost her hair, but she's still a kid. She still could play, she still could play, a little bit. And a lot of times that helped. But as far as her, she didn't care. She was still beautiful. She was still Baby J. Yeah.
Let's talk about the financial situation of cancer. You said yourself you wasn't financially prepared for the diagnosis. cancer medicine is very expensive. Some medicine costs hundreds of dollars
Thousands.
and thousands of dollars. Can you describe that to us, the both of you? How you guys endure that? What are some of the steps that you can help people from intellectualradio.com/iHeart radio station if they know an individual with cancer or something that's struggling to pay for their medicine?
I can only share my personal testimony, and that is number one. I didn't have insurance when I was first diagnosed. There was a law intact for the women in the state of Illinois that were women that were diagnosed with a breast cancer diagnosis or cervical cancer diagnosis, which qualified them for what do you call it? Public aid.
Medicaid.
Medicaid. I don't
It's
never know the
it's
name of
one
it.
a little
For Medicaid, and so that was a good start for me. However, before that even took place, and I have to plug this because it's very important. It was very important in my journey and my treatment and recovery. The Lynn Sage Breast Cancer Foundation Research Foundation. I have a dear friend that sits on the board, and when I shared with her my diagnosis, and she was my advocate for throughout my treatment, but I started out at another hospital, and I was given some information that wasn't correct. You know, it just wasn't the right thing, and I don't want to call the name of that hospital at this time. But she actually used her influence for me to go to her board and let them know my situation. And they were very instrumental in making sure that I was well taken care of. When I say I was well taken care of, I was well taken care of. So Lynn Sage is a breast cancer research foundation that do help women that may not have the proper coverage that they need to have. Also, I can say this, I believe it's Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Task Force actually give free mammograms to women. Free mammograms. So, you know, there are many resources out there. You have to be able to, you know, have a person as myself to tell you where to go and how to get to these resources. But there are a lot of resources out there that help women that are going through the battle of breast cancer. On a financial tip there, you know, I don't get into that a lot. I didn't receive any type of monetary, you know, awards, anything from any organization. But I do know, as far as my treatment was concerned, through Lynn Sage and Medicaid, I was able to get the things that I needed.
The financial situation with Baby J?
Medicaid played a big part in it. County Care actually ended up picking her up. We did clinical trials that saved, you know, a lot of money, keep you from having to pay, you know, for these new I guess these new medications they bring coming out with, you know, bringing out $1,000, you know, you get
the shot.
Right, you get a bill in the mail. Who else sitting on $6,000? No, who's sitting on $1,000? Oh, how that right now, you know.
Exactly.
But you still, you know, you still need treatment, you know.
That's right.
That was a big part. We had a bunch of organizations, quite a few organizations help us out with, like, you know, bills, because of course I had to stop working, couldn't work. So the hospital, actually our social worker at the hospital, she connected us with a bunch of organizations to kind of, you know, keep the car note paid, you know, because you got to travel back and forth, you know, to treatment. Parking was a mess downtown, you know. It's like $15, $20 a day. The hospital itself, You know, they paid. They made sure the lights stayed on. um, we had different pastors from different churches reach out, make sure we had food, clothing. Make sure my youngest son had what he need. You know, because it didn't just affect me and Jamila, you know, it
Affects the
affected the
whole
kids
family.
as well, you know, because they in the household, you know, mom's not there, you know, like what do we do? So we had a lot of, you know, they was, you know, directing us to different food banks, you know. Of course, I had to get on get metal, you know, what you call it, a link, you know, things like that to pay for food. We did fundraisers. I would recommend that if you know a lot of people, you know, you done help some people, you know. Now I need help, you know.
It takes
Do
a
some fun. It
village.
does.
It takes a whole
Yeah,
No,
do
village.
some
can you
fundraisers.
describe how Fight for Jamila came about?
Um, if, fight for Jamila. I was sitting in the hospital. How can I reach out to everyone, at once? Because people wanted to know what was her diagnosis. People wanted to know, you know, how are you dealing with things? How is she dealing with things, you know? And it's kind of hard to answer everyone's questions, you know, at one time. So I
It's
said, well,
taxing.
yeah, the texting, you know, the inboxes, you know. I said, you know what, let me start her a page. Fight for Jamila was the first thing that came to mind because that's what technically, you know, we were doing, you know, was doing. I was fighting for my baby. You know, I was fighting for Jamila. And so that was my way of getting her story out to, you know, to the world. Fight for Jamila. Um, we had different news outlets reaching out because they wanted to know, you know, who is Jamila? You know, we read your story. Even I think that's how we met, right?
Yes.
That's how we met. Fight for Jamila. I met so many good um, people through Fight for Jamila. People were reaching out. What do you need? What does Jamila need? Can we get her anything? You know, give me a list. You know, it turned out to be a great
Yeah.
thing. Great thing. You know.
You have an organization that a personal organization, but you also have an organization that deals with cancer. Can you describe that to us?
Or you speaking of the organization that I'm involved
Right.
in,
Yes.
the breast cancer organization I'm involved in? Yes. Um, it took me a while to actually reach out to a support group.
Mhm.
And finally, when I finally did, my daughter, Jamisha, actually introduced me to an organization called the Tasha Joyner Foundation. And what they actually do is they their goal and is to inspire and empower women. And so I can't. I wouldn't be sitting here today had it not been for that, for them. And so I have to give recognition to the Tasha Joyner Foundation because that helped me to build my confidence again. It helped me to feel strong again and beautiful and just want to go out and to make a difference in the world and to be able to use my voice to do that. And so that's one of the organizations that I've been involved in. Like I said, the Land Sage Foundation, they do a lot more things monetarily wise or as far as your health is concerned. I have a girlfriend that was out of the breast cancer diagnosis and what we all have been experiencing birth our pink hearts toy sing, and so they reach out to women to help them through the struggle. Also, just a year ago, I met a young lady named Lady Rochelle with Warriors Talk, and I believe that you may be familiar with Lady Rochelle. Lady Rochelle does a wonderful job with helping families that are going through the struggle with the breast cancer. And so those are three that I know of that I'm personally involved with, and that is the Tasha Joyner Foundation, Warriors Talk, and Our Pink Hearts.
We had a discussion off air because of time's sake. Briefly describe, you said blacks need to support blacks.
Yes.
As far as the fight for
Yes.
cancer.
Yes.
It only takes a small amount.
Yes.
Can you describe that to us?
I had I remember going online and asking just 100 of my friends. I have over 1,000 and some Facebook friends. I got thousands of Facebook friends. Just 100 of my Facebook friends to support my organization, which is Forever Hope Agency, which is a community-based organization whose mission is undertaking the needs of of individuals in underserved communities. Our primary focus right now are our youth. We're launching our STEAM program, which we've been trying to do for a couple of years now, but we want to give the children the best, that we can give them. So we don't want to just throw them into any type of situation. We want everything to be right for them. And so, but we hadn't raised enough funds. So I asked my friends and my family members just to donate $5. And unbelievably, you can't get people to donate that small amount because they don't feel that that's enough or that is worthy. And I just want to say to everyone, it counts.
Yep.
Your $5 is just as important as that $5,000 donation,
right.
or that $5 million donation. That $5 counts. And if we could ever get our community, especially our African American community, to understand that everybody plays a part, everybody plays a role, and if you just do a little bit, you don't have to do a whole lot. If everybody just do a little bit, it can go so far and it can help so many people. And so that's my message that I want to get out. Your little bit counts. Your little bit is big because little things become much.
Tangi, what was your response when the nurses came to you and say, Jamila is cancer free? She can ring the bell.
Relieved. I guess that was.
That's right.
Relieved. Oh my God, I was overwhelmed with joy. Overwhelmed with joy. I cried, happy tears, of course. It was a rough 14 months, and to hear them say she is cancer free, her MRI is clean. It's an unexplainable joy.
Now, you guys had an all-expense paid trip to DC. You was honored by Cook County Commissioner Richard Boykin.
Yeah.
Describe that moment.
I'll start with Richard Boykin. She was honored at his board meeting for a resolution. I want to say, thank you, for introducing us, me and Mr. Boykin. And also, the hospital picked us,
That's an honor, right?
Yeah, picked my family to take this trip to Washington, D.C. to advocate for all children who rely on Medicaid. We got to meet with different senators, the White House, just to tell them our story, just so they can hear our story, so they can put a face with, our struggles. that we're not just out here using the system. We need it. We absolutely need it. These kids, over 90% of uh, Medicaid is children. You can't cut that. You know what do they do without it? Do we
Exactly.
just throw them out? Throw 'em just. But I mean, just let them be sick and die. No, we need Medicaid. 99% of her treatments were paid with Medicaid. You can't possibly stop that. So our family was one of the families who was chosen to go down and meet with these senators. It was a great experience. They listened. Um, Tammy Duckworth, when I tell you she was awesome, she understood our struggles before we even can speak them to her. It was really great. We met what's his name? I should forget his name.
Congressman Danny K. Davis.
Danny Davis. Yes. He was awesome. He actually, I didn't make it to pick up the paper from him. Yeah, he actually put our story in the Austin News as well. I didn't make it to pick up that paper. I wanted you to see it, but we were there too. We've been on Channel 9 News, so we've been, all over. So my next thing was, I just wanted to say real quick. I'm working on getting my own organization off the ground to help, families with their struggles with their kids going through cancer. So that be looking for that.
Awesome.
So maybe we could do a show on that one day.
Yes, more than likely.
Awesome.
Yes.
Now, briefly, when you already said earlier when you got the news, you were happy, you were elated. Just briefly describe, because we only have a minute to go.
Okay.
So briefly describe when they were when they said you were cancer free.
I it's kind of like all just rolled together. I don't know. I wasn't worried, Roman. I just wasn't, and so I was like, I'm still trying to figure out. Briefly, I'm still trying to figure out, like, did that date start? Did that date start when I had the surgery? Did that date start when the chemo radiation? I don't even know when it was. All I know is I'm still here, and I thank God. And every time I go get my mammogram, they say they don't find anything.
How they can get in contact with you and
foreverhopeagency.org, Tracy Crawford at foreverhopeagency.org, or Tracy Crawford at 605@gmail.com. Is that correct? Yes. And on my Facebook page, of course, Tracy Kincaid. You have to find me on Facebook as Tracy R. Kincaid. That is my married name. That's my husband's name, Kincaid.
Okay, you can email me at Tangela, that's TANGELAWTSN @yahoo.com. My Facebook page is Tangi Baby J Mama Watson, or you can look up Jamila's fan page, Fight for Jamila.
Jamila, you want to come and wave goodbye? Come on, wave goodbye. Thanks to Earl Winfrey, our executive producer, Wanda, who is behind the scenes. Guys, see you next week. Have a good one. Wave goodbye. Bye.